Mr. Linenschmidt, I saw you walk back in. We called you earlier and almost counted you out, sir. But I knew that Representative Paul wanted to hear from you again.
Yeah, we
Oh,
visited.
did you?
Yes, sir.
Does
Yeah,
he still
I
need to
appreciate his dedication to taking care of South Texas. Yeah, I just grabbed a couple of sardines. It wasn't a very good lunch. Yeah. Appreciate y'all's perseverance.
Yes, sir.
I'll try to be brief.
Thank you.
Mentioned before, I work with the Hill Country Institute, a Christian organization. I work as a volunteer for the Citizens Climate Lobby. I'm with the Evangelical Environmental Network and Republic EN, which is a conservative organization. I'm a theologically conservative Christian, a politically conservative voter. And I ask you today, I think my main ask is to take the 2036 report prepared by the Texas State climatologist and use it as a background report, a roadmap for how you consider climate change and how you consider water in Texas. Because Michael Bloom talked about the droughts getting worse. He just didn't say the climate change words. They're real words. They go together. They're taught in all of the science departments of universities that I've checked on. And it's easily understood by saying that in the last 9 years, we've had 9 of the 10 warmest years on record. Texas temperature is up 2.2 degrees since the 1980s. So we're paying for that in the drought issues. We're paying for it with higher air conditioning bills. Our property casualty premiums are higher because the storms, the extreme weather that we have is greater. So I would like just a few, I'll go through my points quickly. Again, that 2036 report is about Texas. It's what's happened in Texas. It's what's happening. It's what will happen. It's an excellent place to start. I put the cover in your package. Promote, and we've had some talk about this, the One Water group, for instance. Think about drinking water, wastewater, storm water, gray water as a single resource, a resource that must be managed holistically, viably, and sustainably. I believe this may be going on, but I would encourage that cities share their best practices. San Antonio and El Paso have won awards. Austin's doing some things now to improve their water situation. The Advancing One Water in Texas report from the Cynthia and George Mitchell Foundation, which was referenced earlier, is a great place to think about this wholeness and how we think about water. This may sound radical, but perhaps a reasonable limit on household water consumption would be appropriate at this time. I suggest maybe 15,000 gallons a month, maybe another 1,000 gallons if you've got more than 4 people. I would exempt rural households because you've got a different thing going on. The state can encourage the planting of native vegetation by homeowners, which will reduce the amount of water consumed on residential properties. We've all got our green yards. We water them. St. Augustine, mixing up my theologian, Representative Paul, with my grass. But the Augustine grass, St. Augustine grass just loves water. So I'm still not getting the pronunciation right. We talked about the audits of cities, but and we talked about the old pipes, but in one testimony, there was some quantification of how much water is lost, and it's a huge amount. In Austin, in the 2020, it was over 15%. In Dallas, it was almost 18%. In El Paso, it was 13%. In Fort Worth, it was almost 18%. Houston, almost 17%. San Antonio, over 17%, according to a report that I got from Texas State University. These are massive numbers. So one of the key things that you can do is fund new pipes, new infrastructure for our cities. And SWIFT may be the program. Maybe you need something else. To move to a totally new and different topic, Texas has a lot of uncapped oil wells. And one estimate is that we have over $100 billion worth of problem to solve. So to start on the front end, I would require that all new oil and gas wells have a posted bond of $25,000 to cover the cost of capping the well when they're no longer producing. And in the Houston Chronicle article I gave you, the Rystad, a Norwegian energy research firm, estimates the cost at $20,000 to $40,000 to cap a well. And some of the bonding that goes on now is as low as $3,000 per well. You get a discount if you have a lot of wells. So let's get in front of this curve so that 50 years from now, people aren't facing the same problem that we're facing with uncapped wells. Require all wells which have not been producing for the last 30 months to be capped. They just keep getting extensions, so they don't get capped. Abandoned wells can explode, leak greenhouse and poisonous gases, and contaminate groundwater and pastures. So I suggest that you set aside, I'm glad you're sitting down, $750 million per year to expand the Texas Railroad Commission staffing to find and document all known orphan oil and gas wells and to cap those wells to the extent that that funding allows. I understand there's $250 million coming from the U.S. government. Is that a good number, Representative Cassell? I mean, you're part of that committee. So, give or take. So 750 and 250, we get to about $1 billion. And that's a good start. That's not going to fix the problem. I mean, every number that anybody's thrown out today has been staggering. And this is another one that's staggering. There's so much environmental damage. I mean, you see these articles, they pop up in the Texas Tribune, Texas Monthly, and we need to mitigate for the ranchers what's been done. I mean, a lot of you guys have direct contact or are ranchers. I don't believe it's fair to them. I know Skylar White was here speaking to the Environmental Regulations Committee, a rancher from Pecos County, and he said this is what happened during the war. I'm not angry about this, but it's not fair to him. It's not fair to other ranchers. It's hard enough right now being a rancher with a lot of folks looking at getting out of the business, selling their cattle. Cotton farmers are having a tough time. So let's do what we can for them. Governor Abbott and Congressman McCall both have advocated for the third reservoir in the Katy area. I mentioned that yesterday. That flood mitigation would be very significant. And I know one of the reservoirs is being deepened, but a third reservoir would make a huge difference because the hydrology of the water flow, it goes from the Katy Prairie across downtown into Galveston Bay. And if you can slow it down, hold it back there, it'll help with all the problems there. 500-year floodplain, we talked about more restrictive construction standards. I'd like to see no more new construction in 500-year floodplains. I think that's maybe not a state level, but it could be a state level. I mentioned yesterday that all facilities on the ship channel should be at 21 feet above current level, either through their current situation or their levees. I'd require all refineries and chemical plants on the Gulf Coast to be prepared for 500-year floods in their location, and put all the pressure you can on federal officials to clean up the Superfund sites. They were inundated in the Harvey flood and released a lot of toxics. And I don't think it was measured well. Don't know how much it was, but I know it's a big problem. So we got a dry West Texas and a wet East Texas. And I'm not envious of you guys dealing with it. Thank you for all you're doing for the state of Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Linenschmidt. Anybody have any questions? If not, we very much appreciate your testimony today.
Thank you, sir.
You.